Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Durdam. I am currently a third year PhD student in Germany, and today I'm going to take questions from you guys, from my subscribers, and there are going to be some very interesting questions. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, do consider hitting that red button. It would really make my day and motivate me. So let's begin. So the first question is from Rooney Ismail. The question is about the timeline of the PhD. So he's asking, what will you do in your first year, second year and third year? What work does the professor gives and what does he expects from you? So it's purely about the whole PhD timeline, how you plan the whole work during your PhD. So in your first year when you start your PhD, it's a lot of getting into the topic, the area in which you have selected to do your research for the next 3 or 4 years, and there is a lot of literature review. You would be reading a lot of papers, talking to your professor, discussing that which method we should be using, and so on. Once you have a thorough grasp of your topic, then you would start working. You would start setting up experiments, generating initial pilot experiments, and try to get some results. There are weekly or monthly presentations that you have to give in front of your lab members and professor about your work progress. So in the first year, it's basically planning and getting into the topic. There is also a lot of time spent in getting to understand the whole administrative process here. When you start working here in any German or European university, there is a lot of administration related paperwork. You have to constantly be in touch with your administration, and complete all the documentation that is necessary. In your second year, you have already understood your topic. You might have also generated some initial results. Now you are ready to run the big experiments. So you start designing your pipeline or whatever your work is. You go basically more into the work detail, and by the end of second year, you would be planning to present your work as a form of a poster or give a talk in a conference, international conference or seminar or a workshop. You would also start participating in these workshops. That is also a requirement. So by the end of second year, your work is already starting to shape up. You have some concrete results, or you might not have concrete results, but you know what are your mistakes. And in the final third year, 3 years is kind of a general duration for which in Germany the general duration of a PhD is 3 years. So you would already start wrapping up your work. You would start writing your paper in the third year and start communicating the papers. And in the last 2 to 3 months, you have to give completely to write your thesis, prepare your thesis and submit it. And then there is, after your thesis submission in your third year, by the end of third year, there would be another 2 to 3 months till your thesis is reviewed by your committee members, external reviewers, and then you have to finally defend your thesis. So that is the very rough timeline of this of your whole PhD. Throughout the journey of your PhD, what your supervisor expects from you is to generate publications. As long as you are able to generate papers, you are able to publish papers from your work, research work, then there would be no problem. So that is the most important expectation from any supervisor. They also have to show in their report that there are publications coming out from their lab and the work they are doing is somehow significant. So I can make a complete detailed video on this, but right now I'm just covering the questions very briefly. So that was the overall curriculum of your PhD, what the professor would expect. So the next question is from Harshali Chitre. So इनका question है, I have 6 months research experience which I acquired during my master's dissertation project. I don't have any publication. I have 2 years teaching experience. Is 6 months of research experience enough to secure a decent PhD position across Europe, or should I try to gain more experience and then apply? I am targeting universities in Denmark, Norway and Sweden. So it's about your research experience. Again, a very interesting question, and I have seen this question repeated many times also in my comment section. So basically, how much research experience is enough? How will you know this? So the best way to quantify if you have sufficient experience and skills is to simply start your applications. When you would see the advertisement, they would list in the advertisement, PhD advertisement, there would be a section where they list that these are the skills that we require. Like you have a field of interest. You would search PhD positions in your field of interest and you come across advertisements. Then in the advertisements you would see that these are the so and so skills. If you think that you can do the project, whatever the project is described, once you read the abstract of the project that is generally given in the advertisement, if you can understand the big picture of the project and can imagine the pipelines or the methods required and feel like that you have the necessary skills, then it's probably a good sign that you have the required skills, and then you can already start your applications. But for example, you come across an advertisement which is in your field of interest, but after reading the project abstract and the skills that are required, you do not feel that something is missing, from that you cannot do this work completely, or you're not ready for this. So then it means that you need some more research experience. I have seen candidates who land a PhD position just right after their masters, and I have seen candidates, for example myself also, I worked about 2 years more after finishing my masters to gain research experience, and I published papers. So it depends completely on candidate to candidate, and it's a very subjective thing. So if you have done sufficient internships, if you have prepared yourself during your masters, then you have a very good chance to land a PhD position right after your masters. Let's go to the next question. So this is a long one. I have completed, this is from Pooja Saha ji ka question hai. I have completed my MSc in botany with biochemistry specialization this year and done dissertation work for 1 year during masters and looking for some internships work during the course of application for PhD. So I have one publication during my bachelor's and it's not related to the topic which I want to pursue for my PhD work. Will it have any impact on this PhD journey? Okay, so it's a big question. I'll answer one part at a time. So the first question is that this candidate Pooja Saha ji ke paas ek publication hai. She has one paper, but the field in which she is wanting to work for her PhD research, that publication is not related to that field. Now, will that publication have any impact on her PhD application or not? So guys, what a publication is basically, it reflects that you are actively doing science and whatever you're working, it's being published. So you are able to publish your work in peer-reviewed journals. So even if the work is not related to the field, it would still have a positive impact. So I would strongly recommend that whatever papers or publications you have right after your masters, just mention them in your CV and it would have a good impact, even if the publication is not related to the field. Because while you write a publication, you work on several skills. You are writing a paper that requires some skills. You are improving your scientific writing skills. It's basically a proof that whatever work you are doing, it's not a waste. You are able to publish it. There was a very interesting conference or talk that I attended some last year, and this guy, he told that whatever work you have done, if it's not published, it does not exist. So that was main tagline that I picked up from him, that if you are working on a project, but if it's not published, then it simply does not exist. And that is the case, guys, in reality, the scientists who work a lot and lot, but still 1% of the work gets published, so then it does not create that huge of an impact. So the next question, part of the question is, I also work on research project related to PhD topic, which has been communicated but not published yet. Should I mention it in my CV? Okay, this is a very interesting part. So पूजा शाह जी का एक पेपर है जो कि कम्युनिकेशन में है बट वो पब्लिश नहीं हुआ है. इट मीन्स इट इज अंडर रिव्यू प्रोसेस. सो देन शुड शी मेंशन दिस इन हर CV or not? So most definitely you should mention this. Once you communicate a paper, you would get a manuscript ID. You can mention that, because I also did the same. While I was applying my own PhD applications, I had a paper which was in communication but not published. It was not online. So you can definitely provide the manuscript ID. Many students, what they do, before communicating to the actual journal, they upload their paper in bioarchive. This is also something that you can do. It is already published in bioarchive. In bioarchive, there is no review process. It is an open source archive where people publish their preprints. So just to claim that they are the first one to do that work. So you can do that also. Next part of the question is that lastly, what are the attachments we will have to attach in the first mail of application? Only CV, motivation letter or recommendation letter? So in the first email, when you are sending the first email, I used to send just the CV, cover letter or this motivation letter, and my transcripts from my bachelor's degree, from my master's degree. But these days what students are also doing, I have seen it in some PhD application advertisements, students are sending their CV, their motivation letter, their transcripts, and also a PPT, a PowerPoint presentation of one of the projects that they have done, which is very closely related to the advertised PhD position. So in a PPT you can explain a bit more, so you can give figures and more content rather than in a Word doc or a PDF document. So you can consider this if you want, but the standard every student, like what the standard protocol is, you send your CV, your motivation letter and your transcripts from your bachelor's and master's degree. Next question is from Amresh Verma ji. So Amresh Verma ji ka question hai, do I need a blocked account in Germany for PhD? And if so, what is the amount? And the same question is also asked by Sadia Wahid ji. इनका question है कि PhD के लिए blocked account must है. So guys, blocked account is basically before coming to Germany, you need to open a bank account, a blocked account in one of the banks. And why it is called a blocked account? Because you cannot withdraw money unless you come here and register yourself as a student. And blocked account से आप एक limited amount of money ही निकाल सकते हो monthly. You cannot withdraw as much as you want. So this is mostly when you are coming here for your master's degree or your bachelor's degree. But when you're coming here as a PhD student, you would be earning here, it's more like a job. So you would be earning salary and you would be getting your monthly salary. So answering your question whether you need a blocked account or not, you do not need any blocked account. Once you come here, in your first 10 to 15 days, you would have to open a bank account here and then give the bank account details to your administrative office of your university or institute, in which they will transfer your salary or your fellowship amount. Next question is from Albatross. Albatross ji ka question hai, is there any application fee for applying to German institutions for PhD? So guys, application fees का जो concept है, I have never seen any application from a university where the student where it is asked that you have to pay a certain amount of application fees. But yes, I have come across some students who were applying for a PhD application in which they had to pay some amount of application fees. But I would say 95% of the universities, you do not need to pay any kind of application fees. But there might be some, but I personally haven't come across any. But I know some students who had to pay some kind of fees. But for example, if you are taking someone's help in this whole admission process, and if someone tells you that they will get you admission into a university, but they will charge so and so money, do not fall into these kind of traps. These are mostly scams, and no one can guarantee you a PhD position. If they're saying that they will take some money and they will help you in getting into a PhD position, it's most likely a scam, because they do not own the lab. If the professor finds you suitable, that you are able to do the project, then only you will get the PhD position. Next question is from Suman Das. Suman Das ji ka question hai, for getting visa for Germany, how much bank balance is required? So this you can check on your VFS website or in your local visa office. If you go to the website, there would be a checklist and the whole process. Generally in India, as far as I know, 7 to 10,000 something like this is required for the visa. And I mean, you do not really need a huge show some kind of bank balance, because as I mentioned earlier, you would be earning here and you do not need to show any kind of a bank balance, that you have an account in which you have so and so money deposited so that you can live your life here. So you do not need to do that. So I'll take one more question. It's a very interesting question. So this question is from Starry Storyteller. So Starry Storyteller ji ka question hai, how much can I save from the stipend? Is it sufficient enough for only earning child of an Indian family? So it's a very important and interesting question. So if you are a student who wants to do their PhD and you are the only earning person in your family, and you have responsibility of your parents and you have to send some money home, then is the stipend enough? Now I would say that yes, it is enough. If you are living in metropolitan cities, like where the cost of living is significantly more, like Delhi, Mumbai, Kolkata, Bangalore, these big cities, or even if in some other cities, I have done a detailed video on this. I would post the card somewhere, how you can manage your finances and how much you can save, and if you want to send home money, that is quite possible. So I would say that generally the range of PhD salary would be somewhere between 1400 euros to 2000 to 2200 euros. That's at the top end. If for example you are sending 5 to 600 euros, that's about 40 to 50,000 rupees per month home, and I think 40 to 50,000 is sufficient for two to three people for their expenses. So you have to imagine that if for example, let's take, if you are earning 1500 euros and you send, let's say, 600 euros monthly, so then you are left with 900 euros for your monthly expenses, and that is more than enough. So with 900 euros also you would be able to save some money. But guys, what I have seen for many of the students is that they live, once they come here, you have to obviously manage your finances well. I would possibly make a dedicated video about this topic, how to manage your finances, how I myself manage my own finances. I invest into stock market, and I have another investment portfolio of my own, where I have cryptocurrencies investment and stock market investment, and there is a whole topic about that, because when you're coming here, you're earning a lot of money compared to what you would earn in India. and if you do not manage your finances well, if you are like spending your money monthly, you are not saving anything, once you are towards the end of your 3 to 4 years, you would start feeling the financial pressure, and trust me, it would come to you once if you do not carefully manage your finances. So short answer to your question is that yes, it is possible that if you are a single earner, if you are the only earner in your family, and if you want to send money home, it is possible, and still you would have enough to live your life here as a student. That was it guys for this video. I hope you found this video informative. I would be doing more of such videos, so post your questions in the comment section. I also post some polls in the community tab. You guys have been responding great to those polls, so those polls really help me to understand what type of audience I have. Do consider subscribing to the channel guys, hit the like button and hit the bell icon so that you get instant notification for whenever I post my next videos. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.